it's a good look. I mean, like you said, it's tough to compare to Dober, but
Yeah. What's his face is everything.
it's tough. Well, Joseph, the last time we saw you, obviously, it was a very, emotional evening for you. I know it's been a lot of time since then, but give me the idea. Was it tough to start again, to kind of get back in there and jump back on this grind?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, yeah. I'd lie if I said it wasn't. I mean, I was getting fight offers, not immediately after, obviously, but, like earlier than this. And I just needed the time to, fall in love with the sport again and, realize the kind of acceptance that, like, you know what? Like, that's probably my last title fight. Like, that's not going to happen. So there's that part, and which is, kind of like freeing in a way as well. You're just kind of like, oh, well, now why do I have to do this? And my first fight offers a few months after is kind of like, well, I didn't have a why. Like, why do I want to do this? Like, I didn't need this. I didn't need that. And there was always a why before that. So it was just about really falling back in love with it and enjoying training before I took a fight, having enough time to, like, just enjoy even the holidays and be like, you know what, I want 2 full months after, just to do that and, like, enjoy life. So, but also it was really about fighting still a guy at the top, and Askar was the right opponent, being ranked number 3, the highest person I could fight that's not lined up. So that was another reason. But yeah, it took me a while. I mean, it was tough. It was devastating, and it was weird. Like, my first title fight ever was probably still my hardest acceptance, because I really had nothing to fall back on. I was so young, and that was like my whole life, that, like, I didn't see it any other way. I didn't have something to fall back on. I wasn't really anywhere near, like, complete as a person, to the point where, like, that was all I thought I was worth, was being this and that. And, like, that was where all my kind of, like, self-worth came from. So that was honestly still the hardest one, being the first title fight. And even the second Figueiredo fight was a little harder, because it was annoying the way that first one ended, and I couldn't control it. This one was clean, cut and dry. Like, obviously you're still, like, mad and, like, how did this happen? And, oh, that was a weird shot. Did this. But, like, it's normal things we deal with, where, like, so anyway. But the fact that it was probably my last title shot, that was kind of the hardest part. And then just falling in love with the sport again and finding, like, hey, well, now I just need to fight because it's fun. I'm challenging myself and proving to myself I can still fight at the top. So I need a guy at the top, and NASCAR was perfect.
Do you remember the moment that was able to click for you? Because it's interesting, right? Like, it's got to be a bittersweet thing for you. Like, this sport has provided you a great life. You've met your wife, have great relationships, but obviously you've come up short in these spots. You know what I mean? So I'm sure it's like a bittersweet thing. So do you remember the spot that you said, "No, I do love this stuff, man. I'm good at it and I enjoy it"?
Oh, it wasn't like a certain spot as much. It was just kind of like, it was just like a slowly back into it. Like, all right, I'm going to train, but, like, I don't feel like training for a fight. Oh, you know what? Like, I really enjoyed that today. And then a lot of it was just the time too. It was like, all right, well, if I am just trying to, like, enjoy my life as well, like, I need to fight in, like, March and just, like, spend the needed time, holidays and all that kind of stuff. And then just the more I trained, I realized, like, oh, I'm going because I like it. Like, I'm not going for a fight. I'm, like, enjoying it. I'm, like, very competitive in practice still every day. I'm looking forward to it. And I was like, oh, like, it wasn't as much as, like, there was a, oh, my God, this is so cool. Because I'm grateful, every day I train and I get to. But sometimes getting in after a fight, especially after a tough loss, it's like you're doing it because you have to. You're just kind of like, got to get back to it. Embarrassed to go in the gym, and it's not as fun as it is, but, like, I have to do it because I'll probably have a fight coming up again. I need to get paid and this and that. But this was just like, I was training for fun. I realized, like, oh, I'm not training for anything and I'm just enjoying it. Could probably take a fight now. Like, this is good. This is fun. And that was really the process. It wasn't like a light went off. I was just kind of like, all right, like, I'm just doing it. And I don't have anything else on the mind but challenging myself, getting better, and enjoying it and being grateful for the hours I get to spend doing it.
So they give you Askarov. I know you're a fan of the sport.
Yeah.
but he hasn't been in the organization very long either. So, I mean, is this a guy that you would watch much of? Like when they gave you the name, do you know, okay, here's what I'm going to be facing?
Yeah, I'd seen him fight before. I know he's undefeated, and I was looking at the rankings, for fights. Like I said, I've always wanted to fight the guys at the top, to get to the title, and in between, taking on the toughest guys, and that was him. And when I saw him at 3, I was like, oh, that's cool, because I've seen him fight a few times too. I think we were on the last card together. I saw him fight people that I watched closely, like Tim Elliott and Brandon Moreno's fights, and he fought them on his other 2 fights. So I had already seen him and been a little familiar with him as well. So the fact, just the ranking, the skill set, the undefeated record was like, oh, that's the kind of guys I want to fight. That's fun for me. It's not exciting to be like, you're fighting this guy off of Contenders or that was on the Ultimate Fighter show that you coach. It's like, oh, that's honestly weird. Someone was asking me the other day about, just compare the Canelo fight, and it's like a boxer still at the top can take this fight that no one knows or whatever. I didn't see how the fight played out, but I remember it being like, I don't know who he's fighting, and be like, that'd be more stressful, honestly, because it's a fight, anything can happen, and we know that, and it's like that'd be more stressful fighting this guy's ranked number 15, no one knows him, there's nothing to gain, but it's a fight, and you could so it's just about fighting the best guys, and like I said, it hit all the marks on the date, the time, the name, and everything.
Canelo fight played out pretty much like you'd expected.
Yeah, I didn't know.
So last thing for me, what's the career path for you now? Because, I mean, as you said, this guy's a top-ranked guy. He's a killer. You're saying, I still want to fight the best guys available. I mean, what's the career path? You keep beating guys like this, which you're clearly capable of doing, you might back into another title fight, not even mean to.
It's funny. I mean, I kind of just let that part go, honestly. And in a way, it's weird because these are the questions I've been answering my whole career at the top. When I debuted in the UFC, I was ranked number 1 in the world at bantamweight behind the champion Cruz, and that was my first fight in the UFC. And now, I'm number 2 in another division, and it's just kind of that's been the thing forever. And even though it's still up there, and it's like, oh, I can compete. My last fight was for the title. I can compete with this, the top 3, everything. It's just, I don't know, mentally it's kind of just been an acceptance. That was probably my last title fight that I'm going to do. And I don't know. So now it's just more about just the right fights, doing it for fun, taking it time by time. Every fight week offers a different experience, and a different kind of adventure. And it's kind of when I have fun in camp and I enjoy this, I'm enjoying fight week so far. Obviously, it hasn't got to the tough part and the weight cut and everything that goes with it. But I'm just on a fight by fight basis, honestly. That's really it. It's just, hey, did I enjoy that fight week? Was that fun for me and challenging and kind of the benefits and the riches I get from competing? I'll do it again. If I was kind of oh, that was honestly just nerve-wracking, I hate cutting, then I don't have to. But it's just a fight-by-fight basis totally, and just the right opponents. I'm not in a rush now. I'm not oh, well, next I can fight the one guy. Then I'll see how the title fight plays out. I'm just kind of we'll see what happens. I just can take it actually fight by fight without this, ghost I'm always chasing, And it's kind of nice. It's different. I imagine it's kind of weird because I guess I don't know if other fighters think that, but there has to be a good portion of fighters that are in the UFC and know I'm probably never going to go for a title, but this is fun, And I've had my chances, I've had my opportunities, but it's kind of oh, I'm just fighting some dudes now, and it's kind of free, not thinking about anything else. Look, all this could happen, and obviously you're asking questions for it, but I'm not thinking about that. I accepted that was probably my last title fight.
Joe, right here.
Hey, brother.
What's up, man? Given Askar is so new to the promotion, he's in a part of the world that I think the UFC is really trying to push. He's undefeated. Was there any hesitation in matching you up with him from the UFC matchmakers, since you've admitted you probably won't fight for the title and Askar is currently on the rise and they might not want you to knock off one of their future contenders?
Yeah, I guess not, honestly, because I mentioned him in the fights. I was like, look, I still want to fight a guy at the top. Askar is number 3, and I know I don't want to fight for a while, so I understand if he needs to keep his momentum off his Pantoja win and all that. And they're like, we'll see how it plays out. Like, they weren't hesitant, but they were kind of like, I think they probably asked him before, and I think he was just willing to wait, I think maybe for the opportunity to fight me as well, that he thought maybe that could do more for him in any way. So, you know, even if they were hesitant, I think he was probably adamant about getting, you know, someone who's been in the division so long too. So it's good recipe for a good fight.
And then looking at the landscape of the rest of the division, given the fight of the year candidate, the draw, the addition of Manel Cape, we're getting all these high-level flyweight fights. Can you remember a time when so much attention was given to the 125-pound division? Since you've been there since the very beginning?
Not really. I mean, I think Cejudo did a very good job. Honestly, I think when it was the most was probably, you know, Cejudo DJ. Even when Cejudo knocked out TJ, I thought that gave a lot of respect to the division, beating a respected champion from another weight, from a higher weight. Even the beginning, the very first flyweight tournament was really cool as well. And I remember us being promoted as, you know, the tournament. I think, like, UFC rarely, people like tournaments. Like, that's just how, like, sport goes, right? And UFC is very reluctant to ever say this is an actual tournament. But that was a flyweight tournament. We did a ton of, like, media for it. I remember being like, oh, my God, we're flying to Australia just to say we're going to fight here. And that was, like, a really cool time as well. And I felt like that was a good time as well. But now is really great because I've always said from the beginning is, like, it just takes time, like anything else, you know, for contenders and names and memories to happen. You know, when you just start and you have 10 guys, you don't have any memories of these guys' fight or any record or data really to go by. And then you eventually realize, like, oh, he fought a title contender. Well, at the beginning, there was no former title contenders. So now you can kind of build on those credentials. And it's just all time. Like, even, you know, a lighter weight boxing, like, it used to only be heavyweight. And now it's like, you know, other weights have just established themselves. So we could never, like when John Jones came in the 2-down division, he was beating former champions, former contenders. Guys are coming in and doing, obviously not like John Jones, but there's not even a person to say, oh, he's a former contender or a former champion, because it's just been so short-lived. But now we're building that data, we're building those memories, and we're building just a familiarity. And I think that's a lot what it is time, because I think the skill in the fights and of the athletes is pretty undeniable.
Then real quick, big title fight in the main event on your card. Who do you like between Izzy moving up in weight to challenge Jan?
I love Izzy. I mean, he's incredible. He's undefeated for a reason. So I think it's always pretty hard to go against champions in general, but they're both champions and one's at a higher weight. Because I'm always just pick the champion because I'm like, look, they didn't do anything to deserve me to not pick them. Like, they're the best in the world. And with this one, they both are, and Jan's a little bigger. But Izzy also, he's never lost. So how can I come up here and be like, he's going to lose this time because he hasn't proven that he has. But going against a bigger guy, like, you guys know how it is. Like, in this sport, it's like both guys could win. But, you know, Izzy's undefeated, I think, for a reason. I think he's going to have a bit of a speed factor. But it's going to be different dealing with big O Jan in there as well. So I'm just looking forward to seeing that fight. It's kind of cool because I think I can actually make it home and be eating pizza by the time, like, the main event takes place. Like, that's my plan anyway. Making the order, getting it on the way home, and then, like, hopefully catching the 3 title fights on my couch with pizza and maybe some friends, my invisible friends.
Hey, Joseph, over here. You've had several extracurricular projects take off, Dapper Scrappers being one, and now you've got your new podcast with your wife. I mean, just what's that experience like to just do that? And you guys are very invested in MMA, but that's not what you guys talk about.
Like, listen, subscribe, as a podcaster would say. That's me now. Yeah, we have a podcast, me and Megan, and it's really fun. I've realized, like, you guys probably have doing your job is, like, it's nice just to talk about, like, all we want to do is talk about shit we like, right? And then when someone else listens or answers the questions, like, it's even better. So that's kind of what it is like, I'm just talking about shit I like to anybody and everybody, and you and my coaches that are telling me like I have to work out and stop talking. So I just figured it was kind of a no-brainer, but it's really fun. And like I said, we'll break down some fights. Like our latest episode out today, we don't talk about the stuff that's happening this week or the opponent. It's more about the memory lane of fights and fight week memories and everything that goes into those. And that was really fun. Heading into a fight week is just looking back at other ones. And we'll talk about the main event that happened, but typically we talk about shit that like you'd want to talk to your friends about, like, hey, what have you been watching lately? You know, we go into each other's DMs because I think modern love and couples send each other a lot of memes. So we go through those ones that we like every week. Celebrity crushes, stuff like that. Sometimes I get done, I'm like, wow, that was an entertainment podcast. Like that should have been on E! Or Bravo or something like that. I'm into reality TV now, So yeah, we just talk about stuff, I guess, couples our age talk about at home, especially. Like a lot of people have just been like, you know what, I feel like I'm just in the kitchen talking to you guys. Like our good friends listen to it, which is kind of weird. And it's more like, I mean, it's not weird, but you expect your friend, like you talk to them, but they're just like, you know what, I feel like I'm just hanging out, like talking to you guys in your kitchen, and I can't necessarily talk back, but it's like, this is what we would talk about if we were hanging out at a restaurant or something. So it's fun. Obviously, I have a great partner doing it with, and it's shit we talk about anyway. So that's fun. Dapper Scrappers. I wish, fans and everything was back so we could do that also. But yeah. I guess what was the question? What did I talk about on the podcast? I just started going off.
Close enough. Real quick, is there a topic you're really looking forward to covering on your show?
No, we kind of talk about it like whatever we want. That's the great thing about it is like you talk about whatever you want. It's nice answering fan questions or listener questions because then you don't have to think and it's like, oh, they want this, so we're going to answer them. And that's always fun because you get interesting stuff. But like I said, I like talking about shit that I like to talk about. Like that is a life hack for me is like, damn, can I just talk about shit I like about all day? Like, is that even a possible thing to do? And like you guys have found a way to do it, right? Like it's kind of cool. So I'm like, it has to be a thing. Like I just got to find something I like and be able to talk about it all day. And so that's kind of what we do. I don't have to be like, this is what I really want to talk about. I just do it. So I'm just like, I'm going to force this movie down someone's throat right now. And I do. And they're held prisoner on their phones there or whatever they're listening to it on. So that's kind of nice. So that's kind of my favorite segment is like, what are we watching? Because every week it's different. Everyone's at home, so everyone's watching something different. And those are kind of my favorite segments to get one of those out. Oh, I'm also doing a movie log on my actual Instagram that is just what I watched every month. And this is an actual ranking of every single movie. You'd love this. A ranking of every single movie I watched during the month. 1 through 10, but also them ranked in order of how much I like them. So I do that every week too, and I just realized like people are skipping through this story. Like the views are going severely down. Like, you know what I mean? Like the first one and like the last one, and there's like 3 guys there at the end, and they're like, but I realized like, dude, I was just talking about shit I like, and that was fun, and 3 people liked it, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. So I also do that. Like, where on the podcast, I only talk about 1 movie or so, but on the log, I go, like, I think in October, I was up to 30 in 1 month. Megan was in Fight Island for 3 weeks, so I didn't have shit to do, okay? And then now, I'm usually getting between, like, 18 and 20, but rank them all, so that's another thing I just want to talk about now, I guess. Not on the podcast. Yeah.
Real quick, best picture this year or last year?
I actually haven't seen the ones that are going to be in contention as much. Like Nomadland is actually going down before my training after this. And I know that one, like best drama at the Golden Globes.
It's okay.
It's okay. Yeah, I've heard people either love it or just they're kind of like it's between like a 5, like best thing ever, or like a 2, and it's kind of weird. That's with stars, I guess, from like 10 and 5s people are giving it. I actually really liked a movie that from last year, but it's kind of in contention this year, not for Oscars. Bad Education, I thought was really good, and then I liked like Possessor was good. Damn it, what was my other number one movie of the year? I'd like totally blanked on 2020 because I wasn't really getting to the 2020 titles as much. I wasn't that excited for them, so I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna not scramble in this Oscar race and just kind of like watch the movies I've been meaning to watch forever. But like a lot of the ones I liked seemed like they didn't really get the nominations, but I don't know. I think No Man looks like it probably has a chance to win. I still haven't seen Minari as well. You saw it?
I think Black Messiah is probably my front runner.
For Best Picture?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. Yeah, that was really good too. Dude, why can't I think of my number one movie? I had it. Anyway, I'll talk about it. I'll think about it.
Casey said Minari is perfect. It's the perfect American story.
Really? Yeah, I really want to watch that. I mean, I'll probably watch both of those this week. Those have been really like on my radar. So I was a little disappointed with like Promising Young Woman. I mean, not disappointed, but I was like, that was gonna be my movie, and then it wasn't. But it was still very good and entertaining. I Care a Lot, number one on Netflix, was actually really, really entertaining. Black Bear, one no one saw with Aubrey Plaza. That was actually a devastating, really good as well. Oh, I know the best movie I saw of 2020. Here we go. Sorry, guys. Everyone hates me. This is like my stories. The interest is going down. No, I love it. Hey, I know. I was trying to think. I was like, which movie did I like? And this one's hard because it's the best movie I saw of 2020, but it's not my favorite. The best movie I saw was of a 2020 title was Pieces of a Woman with Shia LaBeouf and Vanessa Kirby and Ellen Bernstein. Incredible best acting trio of the year. But it can't be your favorite movie because it's just like devastating. Like it's dramatic and like to the point like you're not going to get into it and like love it, but you just know like it was the best. Like, so that's the best movie I watched, but like it's not my favorite. Like I liked Bad Education, Possessor, Black Bear, those movies. But Pieces of a Woman was the best movie I saw of 2020 thus far. It's on Netflix. Yeah. That's
just one question. Yeah. Hi there, I'm Igor Lazarin from Russia. So your opponent, the Olympics medalist, could you say a few words about his mentality, about him?
about his mentality?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean that's why I took the fight. I mean he's number 3 for a reason. I think mentality and physical abilities and also just skill set in general have so much to do with him ranking number 3. Like you don't just get a 3 by your ranking and undefeated and against the guys that he's already faced in the UFC for a reason. So like as good as he is, that's the reason I took the fight, because I wanted the best